of magic used by the Levite priest. This is also the home of Skull and Bones code number March 22, 322 turn of the equinox. 81 PAGE. Reason 63 the name was placed under the breastplate and would cause it to glow opening communication to the tetragrammaton. Lucifer also had his body encrusted with special stones. Zal zeal it is noted in the Bible a man named Phinehas showed zeal meaning in this case lots of aggressive energy to rain destruction upon the Gentiles and go to murder for God and this was shined upon. There are numerous ancestral tribes with an abundance of blood on their hands. If we chose to follow their religions we will share their same fate. Keep in mind many indigenous tribes claim to learn the worship of the serpent from Atlanteans who arrived on their coasts with abnormal powers after the destruction of their city in the late month of Ether which is our October, Eth is pronounced, 8. October is our 10th month but Octo means 8. This shows you how purposely off the Gregorian calendar is. As I said above 2012 is happening now. As you see with this simple four-letter word that we have examined there is a lot more to be extracted from language. Due to the truth itself never being written nowhere near its entirety, this provides one of the only ways to extract the manifold story of what happened here on Earth, it survives in the language. Societies like the Druids never wrote anything down thus everything of value, 82 PAGE, was committed to memory. As it states in several places the memory banks of man and woman were a lot more vast than they are now, they did not have to write things down. Even looking in Egypt it has been discovered that even the hieroglyphs were a product of latter times in Egypt, the original inhabitants left no written records just Chdi priests. This lends more credit to the results of magnetic shifts which is extensive memory loss. I believe if a person does not have a strong sound aura, magnetic shifts can erase most past, present, and future information pertaining to the person. Reason 64 our ancestors had at times larger brains and greater memory capacity. This is never talked about because of course it would destroy the theory of evolution. These skulls date back millions of years ago. The Bible starts the first creation of man at roughly 8,500 years ago, what a hindering lie. Sometimes when you are dreaming you may even see people you knew in elementary school however if you are asked while conscious if you remember them in such detail the answer for most will be no. Because so many quadrants of the brain are powered down ultimately most people are walking about with a bad case of amnesia. When one forgets who they are they become clones behaving like everyone else. People that can really see auras can read things off a person's aura, not just the mood of a person. It is known that information like where they have been, who their descendants are, and various other deeply enlightening things about their character. When examining the controllers of this system I did come across extensive information indicating that pole shifts could now be caused by the technology in their possession which had been used before in previous times to reverse the effects of a natural pole shift. Seeing 2012 line up as the Zionist code it would indicate not only the ability to possibly cause shifts but also the ability to traverse the space-time continuum. Most make the mistake of calculating what everyone in the world is capable of based on their personal intelligence level not realizing there are men who spend their every waking moment solving complex problems of quantum physics and various forms of science. One who spends their time in the club and drinking should not believe they are on the same caliber as these great minds, that is the ego that would believe such foolishness. It makes sense that they are doing nothing in vain and have truly discovered something far beyond the imagination of the common slacker. 83 PAGE. Reason 65 the date 2012 is actually the numeric code for Zion used across encrypted machines like the German Enigma and the code of the Psychonaut. The two is a Z, S, or N as you can see the obvious similarities. The O1 is binary and can be interchanged and finally the Ent is true they will reach completion at least by 2012 although 2010 is the vivid beginning of the shift. The elite used Zion as the logo for the Olympics scheduled for Dubai London in 2012. They are bluntly pushing forward. These topics are never covered and are strictly out of the box. A long debate will go on amongst individuals questioning whether or not time travel is possible. Sometimes they will go a little deeper and report things like the Philadelphia experiment, where it was purported a major project took place to create a jump hole between 1940 and 1980 approximately. Few ever make it to the point of questioning what was being done with this time gate. Let us ask the question, with the ability to traverse time still under the laws of physics, what would the elite want to change? That is a big question, but to me there is one simple answer: they would want to make themselves rule as long as possible, and anything that could disrupt that they would thwart somehow as long as possible. 84 PAGE. Reason 66 on the left. A fresh jump gate installed right outside of downtown Detroit without the least bit of curiosity. Of course, who's looking at Detroit these days? On the right, the jump gate on Stargate SG-1 equipped with Enochian writing. You should begin to see how fact and what seems at times to be fiction blur together. Everything we can think does in fact already exist. We will talk a little of traversing space and time and how one can get in a position to even be able to accomplish such a feat unless they were spiritually inclined. It is known that if you are carrying a low vibration, you cannot physically travel through higher vibratory fields with the body, obviously, but you can get to other planes, planets and various territories with capable ships. This is what is meant by the term external Merkaba. When the space race began, it was Russia and the US. Let us start looking at all of the Russian territory known as the Great Bear as under one very divisive monarchy in which the people are expendable. Let us include even Germany in this, although many think the Russians don't like the Germans. That was something created by their mutual governments to formulate a plan of divide and conquer, which the elite do everywhere. They are all still Aryans. Vnvnivis, we just call it the V. Reason 67. Russia, a long-standing occult and technological powerhouse, made it to the moon first with ease. Their space technology was far more superior than the US, as they had already made deals with the Czars. One would need to keep in mind Russia had one of the first inner circles. True, they lost many people in depressions and civil wars, but their elite continued to increase their ranks. Again, the people are expendable to them. Lenin, Trotsky, Stalin, Gorbachev, Putin and many others fed from Mother Russia like vampires at a blood bank. Not to mention that's where those that choose plasma as their diet get it from. No time to be hunting people in the night when you have to be in a Fortune 500 meeting in the morning. 85 PAGE. The race was to the moon, as they say. One should start thinking what was really happening on the moon, since we know a silly race isn't the reason these two juggernauts take off on a goal. Furthermore, trust they would use every channel they could to be sure they could make the trips with the least amount of error. They would need star maps, statistics, temperatures, pressures, permissions and various other guides. Many think we just logically came across this information through trial and error, which would create enormous time issues for explaining how fast we prepared for the mission. Here is what really happened. In the spiritual circles of Thule during Third Reich Nazi Germany, the greatest magicians of all time had come together. Blavatsky was only a component of this group. Men like Dietrich Eckart, who trained Hitler, were far above her. Madame Blavatsky possessed an array of esoteric goodies she picked up from the Black Tibetans during her trip to Agartha Shambhala. In such a male-dominant society, Blavatsky entranced the mind of various key individuals with obviously not her physical charm. Books writing her off as a quack are disinformation. She begins her book Isis Unveiled with a stout beginning, making her allegiance in bath colours known. Reason 68. Madame Petrova Blavatsky, mother of the Society of Thule, recruited the best magicians of the time. She made contact with the Black Tibetans known as the Green Gloves, found later scattered throughout defeated Nazi Germany in houses where they had committed mass suicides. The Green Gloves were hyperdimensional Tibetan masters. They showed Blavatsky Shambhala, Agartha, the inner world. She made the pacts with them, and thus the Third Reich became the heavy instrument of the Dark Tibetans, all aligned with the Czars. 86 PAGE. This is how the swastika of the Black Sun got into circulation in Germany. Since once again we are in a binary world, we also have another sun directly on the opposite side of this sun. You have to be in special locations to see it. They refer to it as a sun dog. The black sun is the opposite energy, a taker of life for stress.